Okay, I've just received a parcel. Just been to collect it from the dispatch depot, and as you can see here, there's my to UK battle reenactor AFRA member, which I've blocked out. Contact AFRA phone number. Right. So yeah, I just received this thing. So I think I could do with a smaller knife than that really for opening this box. Well, I've got my Hitler Youth knife, which is actually a genuine one. Solingen. I could use that, I suppose. They didn't all have Hitler's signature or blood and honor or whatever it was written on the blades. Most of them were just plain like that. Let's see, what else we got there? Yeah. Other option is my World War II commando knife. This has been in my family since World War II. I'll tell you what, I'll go for a cheap and cheerful thing. Okay. I know I actually hate people who review boxes of airsoft guns, and I don't really want to go down the line of being like that, but there you go, there's the box. It's nothing wonderfully flashy. Says here, warning, made in China. Warning, it's made in China. Okay, yeah. PPSH, EBB, ST AEG01. You see that? There you go, ST. Yeah. Package includes optional accessories. Comes with a drum mag, 2000 rounds drum mag. Doesn't come with the curved 540 round curved stick magazine, but by the looks of things they do make one. Website, World Wide Web, smartteamhongkong.com, and an email address for info. See? God, I hate reviewing boxes. Yeah, so let's get the damn thing open. More tape. I'm just not left-handed. Yeah, well, the box is better than some boxes I've seen on airsoft guns. So this is the first review of the ST PPSH41 as it's coming out the box from Hong Kong. So getting rid of all this bubble wrap. There's your drum mag. Now, I was suspecting when I saw photos of this on the web that this part here was die cast. Now, that was just looking at some photos, but other people said no, it'll be steel. So let's have a little look at this. On the face of it, to me, it still looks like die cast. Which is why the gun is a little touch cheaper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a magnet and stick a magnet on this. I think that's how they've reduced the price on this gun, by making this bit out of die cast. It's just the way it's made is not like the proper PPSH41. Right, so I've got my magnet here. Now, as soon as I saw photos of this on the web, I thought, that looks like die cast straight away from the pictures. Now, in a moment, I'll check it. Now, these here are two other PPSH41s. Now, this is the one I made before China started producing theirs. Now, mine is all made of steel, and it uses a real PPSH41 magazine which I've converted, and it's all steel, just like this is the real one from World War II, all steel, so on. Yeah. Obviously the grip has to be far more chunky on an airsoft version than it does on the real version, so you can see the difference there. Yeah, now back to the ST. So what do we think? Do you want to take any bets? Place your bets, place your bets. Was I correct? You see, when you look at this in the photographs on the web, the colour of that is a different colour to that of the rest of the gun. That part is steel. Trigger guard is steel. The rear is steel. The sight is steel. That ain't steel. That bit is picking up the metal of the rest of the receiver, but this bit is all die cast. It's alloy, apart from the odd little pins which are in it. Still, if it's made right, it's still a sturdy piece of metal. It's not plastic, it is metal, but that's how they get the price down on this, by casting this piece out of die cast. But it still looks alright. You can see this point here, they look like cast spot welds, not real spot welds. So also, I'm not a lover of the PPSH41 with this raised flange area here. I can understand what it's for. It's basically makes sure that the receiver folds back in nicely, and it stops it wobbling around, I suppose, makes it more rigid. But most of the PPSH41s which I've seen from World War II do not have that. So when I made mine, I didn't put it on either. Yeah, that's how I adjust the hop on mine. I slide that back and then push it forwards again. My hop is just a screw which I adjust with a screwdriver. Yeah. So this one should be a similar thing, but that should operate and slide backwards and forwards. Let's see. It seems to, and then you slide that back, and your hop's adjusted by rotating this wheel left and right here. Yeah, detail on it is alright. It's got a little star on it and 1944 on it. Now, let's have a look at a real one. You see, my real one doesn't have a little star on it in a shield, but it does have 1944 on it. See at the top there, 1944, and then it's got the serial number of the gun on it. That is the same sort of action just here. That slides in and out, see? But mine is all welded up because it's deactivated. so I can't cock that bolt back. You can see here, proper gun, those are all spot welds along there, and you can see straight away when you compare the two that the ST gun is not spot welds. When I made mine, I drilled holes to the internal piece of metal and then just MIG welded it through. It's not particularly neat, but it is all blued steel. Yeah. Now, mags. Let's have a little look. Well, that's certainly made of steel. There you can see the feed port in the top there. How does it compare with a real PPSH mag? Well, it's got this large screw on the back of it here, which, let's see, that's not it's not exactly the same, but it's not dissimilar. So let's have a little look. There's your real PPSH mag. It has this it has a type of screw there which is fairly similar sort of looking. Now just one moment. Okay, so this is a real PPSH mag. So there's your port on the top of it, and that's how you open up the mag and so on. You slide that back. Yeah, but I really need two hands for all that business. So there's the two mags side by side. Now the World War II mag is not quite the same in terms of finish, so I'm suspecting this might be blued, but it might be painted. I think it is actually blued. You can see this part up on the top here, that section there is all plastic. Yeah. Now let's have a look how we open our magazine up. I presume you turn this small wheel here. Yeah, it looks like that unscrews there, and then you slide that back like so, and this top should open up. Tell you what, I think it's time for a bipod or tripod. Okay, so there's the two mags side by side. So I've undone that. Now we open up the mag case like so. So in here we have our high cap winding mechanism, and we've got a nice big reservoir for what they say is 2000 BBs. Now it looks like it should work okay. Be interesting to see if it does, because a lot of these drum mags on various models have given some problems, namely the HP Hexagon Products PPSH. Their high cap mag gave quite a few niggly problems quite early on, and I don't really know whether they've sorted it out yet. Anyway, close that up again. So we've got those slight difference between the two guns. So obviously the real mag won't fit inside the PPSH, because the top part here is too big. Okay, no problem. Right, so we have this. So as far as I know, for opening these up, you slide that back, probably lock that like so there, and then this would be pushed forward, and that should open there. See? And that exposes the gearbox. So if I release that, yeah, you don't actually see much of an alteration up at the front there. You don't see something slide out the front of the gearbox or anything weird. So it's got these two rods which run on each side of the gearbox casing, and that's what this slide runs on. Quite a nice little design actually. See, there's two springs. It's a little bit similar to say an AK-47 in some sort of ways, where they have one rod running down and then the spring slides up and down on it. So quite a nice little design. Now yeah, that looks like it's steel to me. Things most people into World War II aren't going to like about these things is all the Phillips screws which are on them. It would be much nicer if these companies would just put standard slot screws in them, but it's all down to speed of manufacture. If you're using Phillips screws, they can be inserted with a machine, whereas slot screws don't. But then again, look at the butt plate, they've put standard slots in it, so that's not bad, because I know some of the others didn't do that. Now you can put your if you're using a stick mag, it looks like you can probably put a stick mag in straight through the back here. Now we'll have to take this butt cover off and have a little look in there later. Now it looks like the standard Russian sling should fit on there quite well, and I just happen to have an original sling here. So looking at it, it looks like it should just about fit in those slots. They can be a little bit fiddly to put in, so I'm not going to try it right at the moment. I suspect the easiest way is going to actually be to take those two screws out of it and put them in and put it back. Now the wood of the stock, other than the finish of it being a little bit too perfect in some ways, is quite nice. If we have a look at it and compare it to the real PPSH41, you can see the difference in the finish on the stocks. This one actually has a much sort of cheaper looking finish to it, and it's also got a serial number stamped in the stock. Now 4964, is that the same one that's on the top? 4964, it's the original serial number which goes with the metal of the gun, is also stamped on the stock of the gun. and it has this bit of Russian sort of writing. It looks like a 6 and a B just there, but who knows. It also has a serial number stamped here. Looks like a 5 or a 6B 4964, and that number's also stamped there. There appears to be up just here above the first hole. It looks like a B or a 3 in a ring stamped on a real one. Now you're not going to get that small detail up on here. Now, have they blued or painted this metal? It looks like it's a blued finish, but without taking a knife to it and trying to scratch it off, only time's going to tell on that. Looking at it here, you know, you can see the working and the metal machining a bit, so it does look like it is a blued finish to me. Again, we've got these modern screws in there. We've got an Allen screw on both sides of this, so you know, for the people who want to make this look right, you want to take those out and replace them with something a little bit more period. Now, the front sights on these things, they're generally never got the high detail on them. It looks like you can adjust the elevation on it, but on a real PPSH 41 there should be a windage adjustment as well. This is quite nicely welded on, spot welded on. Now, the original ones were not done as well as that, as neat as that. They're well, I'll show you one. So, can we get these both in the screen here? Yeah. So you can tell which is which, can't you? There is your real PPSH 41, and you can see it has a windage adjustment for adjusting it left and right. And it also can be adjusted vertically by putting a form of tube type screwdriver or box spanner type implement down through the top of the sight. You also see that where it's welded on, they were welded on just with a MIG welder, but quite crude in the way that they were put on. At least on that side, just MIG'd. Now, if I show you the way I made mine, this is my homemade version. Now, I put a windage adjustment in, and I just quickly MIG welded it on the two sides, probably like would have been done on some of them during World War II. Basically a quick way of doing it. I also put the elevation adjustment in there so you can wind that sight up and down. Yeah. So, fine details. Mine's got a few bits which the ST doesn't. I don't think any of the Chinese PPSHs do have the windage adjustments on the sight. Yeah, that little lump there, that's correct. The real one also has that. Right, in terms of length, they're pretty much the same size. I wind the camera up. It's about as high as I can get it, I think. So if I take the mag out of my gun, dump the usual BBs which come out of them. Right, so yeah, they're all three of them are just about the right length, so that looks okay. So here we've got the ST PPS, then we've got the real one in the centre, and then mine up at the top there. Yeah, things I never finished was I never finished the what is it, the safety catch, I think, which is goes under there. I think that's either the safety or is it the full and semi-auto. That's a silly question, isn't it? I should know the answer to that. I was going to make it the semi and full auto. Oh. I think it's full and semi-auto. Let's see. These things are quite stiff on the originals. Take a little bit of force to open them up. Once they do, there you are. That's how the real one opens up. Now, I can't remove this bolt. It's all welded up solid in there, so I can't get down and start looking at the trigger mechanism unless I start taking a screwdriver to it. So the real one has a screw which runs right through the stock, through the grip here, and holds the trigger guard and lower part of the metal together. Yeah, so that's what keeps it all in the woodwork. Now, the Airsoft versions, obviously, you can't do that. As I said, these things. Right. Yeah, so you can see the difference between the diameter of the stock there on a real one and the diameter there. Yeah. So obviously this is going to have an electric motor running through inside here. At least I think they do. It certainly does on my version. Now, so you can't put a screw running all the way through these things. Could I be wrong about how they've done this? Have they designed something different and hidden the motor in a different place? Maybe the motor's up inside here. I've never actually looked at how one of these is done. I don't think I particularly want to go stripping it down. So what I need to do now is get a battery charged up and do some test firing with this. Yeah, it's all steel. It's done quite well. As I say, it looks to be blued all right. Now that barrel that's inside there, some people are going to ask me, is that steel? Well, let's see if I can get that magnet in there. The answer appears to be no. It looks like it's an alloy, that internal. Well, the outer barrel jacket, well, the barrel itself inside there looks to be alloy. As is the section down there near to the hop. that also appears to be alloy. It's not holding a magnet. That obviously is, which is okay. Is the trigger. The trigger appears to be alloy as well. As for some reason is also the sling mounting on the back. In fact, could that be plastic? It's possibly plastic there. It's plastic or alloy. And that's put on okay. That's fairly solid looking. Now this slot which is running around underneath the barrel. Now let's have a little look. My gun, when I made mine out of a piece of round piping and then made it square by squashing it. Now this one is made out of a rolled sheet of steel, and you can see how it's just been rolled round, and then they've welded the front end on there, and it's fairly big gap running down between the two sides along the bottom here. Now let's have a look at the real PPS. Now on the real one you can see there's virtually no gap between them at the bottom. In fact, at this point here they're MIG welded completely together, whereas the ST has got a gap there. Possibly the Aries is the same. Yeah, you can see there's a bit of a difference when you come back to the rear here. When you look at a steel one, on a steel version, there's a hollow in this area here. That's how it's made. It's actually made out of two pieces of steel, this part around here. So if you look very closely, you'll see there's a thinner outer piece of steel which is about 2mm thick, and then an internal piece of steel which is around 3mm thick. Now that's the bottom of the bolt there, which has been MIG welded in to deactivate it. Now if you look at the ST version, when I was looking at it in photos, I almost thought I could see two layers of metal, like the outer one and the inner one, as shown on the real one. But what got my suspicion was mainly when I looked at this area here. See how this is completely solid? So it looks to me like this is one big piece of die cast moulded metal. I did think for a time it could have been an outer skin with die cast fitted inside it, or maybe just plastic, but you can see now it's just a big chunk of die cast. Now that in itself is alright, it's going to be sturdy, but the finish which is on it is probably just going to be a paint, or if you're lucky it will be some sort of alloy bluing. Which it is, I'm not so sure at the moment, but you can see there is a colour difference between the two metals, which is what got my suspicions straight from the start. Now this is my homemade PPSH41. Now you see, as I said before, I made all this up out of steel, and I tried to make it in the correct way, even though I didn't finish some details off, like the small folding lever here, but I can still operate the mag release in the normal sort of way, and that's just got a nail running through there which I slightly riveted over a bit because I intended to remove it again at some point. But in terms of the way I produced it, I tried to make it look like the production of the real gun with this hollow here, and I made the metal out of the two pieces, so it's got an outer skin and an inner which is 3mm thick, and an outer which is around 2. Yeah. Sight. I've tried to make the sight fairly similar to the proper one. Now let's have a look at the sight on the ST. Yeah, they've done a reasonable job. They've of course used hex bolts again. Does that? Oh, yeah, it does move. Nearly takes my nail off when I do it, but yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's not bad looking. Now, when I look at these, the sort of the way they're stamped, the only thing is I feel that they have a slight look of being a little bit too square on the sides in the stamping. See how they're extremely flat here. Now when I was trying to make mine, I didn't want to go making it so that it was completely flat like this. See the top of the receiver here? These sides are very flat and they never look quite right to me. Show you the proper gun. There's the proper gun. You can see it's still quite curvy here on this section of the receiver here, and up around the back. It's quite curved. You see the colour of the bluing in this. It's quite different to the bluing on the ST gun. There's the ST. You can see there's a real difference in the colours, and you can see how flat the ST is compared to the real version. Now, again, this is my homemade version. I tried to leave this area relatively curved like the proper gun was, and the rear section here is also curved, whereas the ST is very flat at the back there. Okay, to take the butt plate off, you remove the lower screw here in the butt plate, and this one up here isn't actually a screw, it's a dummy, and I'll show you a nice little thing they've designed in. It's probably a copy of what the Aries company have done. If you look in here, so you have to lift this up so that you can open the stock, and there's a little button in there which you push, and when you push that, the whole back plate lifts off. You can see what they've done there. Now this is actually steel, this little component, so it's fairly nicely made. I suspect that's probably plastic. Yeah, I can tell it's plastic from rubbing my finger on it. But you can see how that little button operates. Quite a nice little idea, that. Now, in terms of the space which is inside of here, there are a few limits to what you can do. Now here is a high capacity battery, you know, conventional, like you would put in a Thompson stock and so on. Now it would be nice if you could get one of these inside there, wouldn't it? But the reality is, no, you can't. They're about one cell too big, so you're not going to get one of them in there. That's a standard large capacity battery, which is, let's see, it's around, just a touch over 6 inches in length. If we were to say 15.5 centimetre long battery, they won't fit inside there. So you're going to be stuck to the smaller type capacities. This is just a very cheap 9.6 battery. Obviously that'll fit in very easily. In fact, you might almost get 2 of them side by side in there. Now you can put a stick battery into here. Now you can put the short type stick batteries in, but you're never going to get one of the these long ones in, like you can get into the top of some of the AK-47s. So let's see, that's not going to fit in there. So the length, internal length that you've got inside that, if I do a bit of a check with a tape measure, if I've got any way better at doing this, let's have a look. I think. Look at this, I just happen to have an American flag. There you go. By the way, it's the 6th of June today. Quite a nice day for receiving a gun through the post, even though it happens to be a Russian one. Right, so if I take a measurement of this stick, that will give me an idea of what sort of length we're toying around with here. Yeah, we can fit an 8.5 inch long battery inside in the stick mag area. Now I just happen to have one of those on charge right at the moment, so as soon as it's charged up we'll have some practice shots and see what it's like. Okay, so this is my homemade version of the PPSH41, which you've seen me fire before. Which works quite well. Now this is the ST Armament PPSH41. Now you'll instantly notice there's a difference because this one's got electric blowback. And if I put it on full auto, the cyclic rate's quite slow. In fact, I think the battery's already starting to run out. And I only just used this, I only just charged this battery which is in here a short time ago. It could be due to the fact that it's got this blowback on it that the batteries are not lasting very long. It's eating up battery capacity. Not very long ago, I basically had about not even one magazine through it. I will now show you why people in the know don't bother with gimmicks like electric blowback. Watch this now. as I said before, I've only just charged this a short time ago and not fired 2,000 shots through it. There's not enough power in here to cock that that bolt back. But if I hold the bolt back to about there, it's working again. If I put this on full auto and hold that bolt back, there she goes. Shows you these electric blowback mechanisms are not worth the money or the waste of time in fitting them in the first place. How to improve the gun? Remove the electric blowback mechanism. Simple. Now, I haven't read through the manual. Who does? You know, no guys don't read through manuals, do they? Now, I was just having a look at this gun, and I've never actually looked at how the Chinese have made these PPSHs, and they do in fact have a screw that runs all the way through the grip. So hence why they've been able to make it slightly thinner than the one I've made with the M14 gearbox running through the grip. So another point while I'm on about this is, if I rock this forward, open this up again, show you in here, there is the electric motor, so you can see it's actually finishing just about there in the stock. That's hence why they've made these as solid as they are. You might have seen the dark light video of the Hexagon Productions PPSH, where he actually sits on the drum mag. Now, I would say you could do the same with this gun. Even though that part's alloy, it'll still be quite solid enough to do that. Now, remember me showing you before this this mechanism latching over here like so to operate the hang on, I'll just take the magazine out before I start doing this, because I'm gonna have some wild shots coming out. Just pop that down there on the floor. Right, if I have that open, you'll see, yeah. Now, you might notice that that has just jumped out of here. Now, when the top is down, I'll pull that back, that fits over the top there, and that little sliding pin, which is pulled backwards and forwards by the piston, you see the piston in there, that there is held down. This dummy bolt is held down by the actual fact that the metal is down on top of it. Now, if you open this up and you rock this bolt slightly upwards, you can pass it over the top of that there, and that, which operates the blowback system, will be left at the rear. So that's quite nice there. As I say, I haven't seen how Aries have done this, so I'm presuming this is a direct copy of what Aries do. I haven't seen a review of the Aries gun. Not since, well, no, I haven't seen one at all, to be honest with you. I just didn't really bother. So now I've done that, there won't be any blowback, and you can hear straight away that the rate of fire has picked up on this. I've also recharged the battery, of course, because having the blowback on before discharged the battery quite quickly. These actual drum mags, I know it's brand new and not been given a chance to come up with any teething problems, but well, teething problems actually normally happen at the start, hence why they're called teething problems. Now, I've not actually found any problems with the feed of this, so it's sort of working quite well. If I wrap that around there. Oh, my cat didn't like that. She just ran off. You might have seen her in the corner of the camera there. Well, if you didn't see her, you can just wind it back because it's on YouTube, can't you? Yeah. See if it kicks these cans around any more than it was. Now that tube, that tall steel tube there, that's actually a stainless steel chimney off a, you know, like a patio heater type thing. And you can see it puts dents in it. Not bad on stainless steel. See all those dents? And you can see the cans there. I just noticed the frog just hopped out of the grass as well down there somewhere. He had a near-death experience, whatever he is. Oh well, I better not shoot him. Hopefully I didn't shoot him. Anyway, he's out the way now. Yeah, so you can see what sort of a mess this makes to tin cans at about 30 foot. Not too bad. And that's what it does to a piece of pine at 30 foot. And as I say, this is a stainless steel patio heater chimney. So, in reality, it's not a bad gun at all, that. It's improved in my estimation since I got it out the box, even though it does have some die cast, and I have also noticed that it isn't blued. This is in fact painted steel, but as I say, I'm not going to worry about that too much. There's lots of airsoft guns which are painted, and the paint does seem to be done quite nice on this. It doesn't look like it's you know, it's going to start peeling off in a nasty way in big clumps in any at any moment soon. So hopefully it'll wear away quite nicely with usage. Yeah, so yeah, quite pleased with it actually.